We inhabit a cultural moment characterized by an unrelenting barrage of digital stimuli, constant notifications, compulsive scrolling, algorithmic manipulation, and the culturally ingrained imperative to continuously comment and react have engendered an internal climate of psychological diffusion and spiritual estrangement. Amidst this incessant din, this hypertrophied externality, have you paused to attune not to the cacophony that surrounds you, but rather to the delicate, often muted cadence of your own inner life? This moment is yours, an interstitial sanctuary carved intentionally into the chaos. It is a sacred interval of recollection, a pause reclaimed from acceleration, a return to the locus of inner sovereignty. Because it is in this silence, not empty but potent, that volition and clarity reemerge. Contemporary socio-technological paradigms exalt acceleration, hyper-efficiency, and outward productivity, often to the detriment of introspection and psychological equanimity. We awaken ensnared in digital immediacy, embark on our workdays driven by anxiety rather than aspiration, and drift into rest under the anesthetizing hum of media saturation. Yet, it is within cultivated stillness that meaningful cognitive integration, and perhaps even transcendence, becomes possible. Stillness is not synonymous with passivity or stagnation. Rather, it is an act of sovereign reclamation, a state generative of lucidity, insight, and attunement. It is the deliberate suspension of unfiltered reaction, replaced by intentional discernment. Even brief windows of consciously cultivated stillness serve as neurosomatic recalibrations. Our neural architectures are not designed to endure ceaseless cognitive influx. We are fundamentally designed to transcend the noise, not merely survive within it. Mastery, in its most evolved iteration, is not predicated on perfectionism or performative optimization. It is predicated on presence, specifically metacognitive presence. Mindful mastery is a praxis, an evolving discipline of embodied attentiveness. To be masterful is to engage in relentless self-inquiry. What is the valence of my current emotional landscape? What are my unmet needs? What unconscious scripts are influencing my behavior at this moment? And then, to act from that awareness with congruence and compassion. It is to live as a cartographer of one's own psyche, mapping not only the familiar terrain but also the shadowed corridors we often avoid. This is a spiritual and intellectual discipline, no less rigorous than academic or athletic pursuits. Mastery is an emergent property. It materializes not from grand gestures, but from granular, recursive acts of conscious engagement. It is a remembering, a return to the realization that the authority we seek is already intrinsic. To ascend beyond the ambient noise of contemporary existence, one must implement micro-habits that sustain neuro-emotional coherence and internal literacy. Commence your day void of technological interference. Let your consciousness rise unmediated. Name a singular truth each morning, a felt truth, and record it. Hydrate mindfully. Engage in diaphragmatic breathwork. Move not to burn, but to bless the body. Though deceptively mundane, these embodied acts form the architecture of psychological fortitude. In repetition, they become neural pathways of resilience and lucidity. Mental clarity is not an epiphany, it is an accumulation, a product of disciplined devotion to coherence. The body is not separate from the mind. It is the theater in which all thought arises. Therefore, tending to the vessel is not superficial, it is foundational. In our age of algorithmic capture, distraction is no longer merely a behavioral quirk, it is an engineered inevitability. Yet neuroscience offers us hope through the doctrine of neuroplasticity. What has been conditioned can also be reconditioned. Choose one alert, just one, and disable it. Identify one superfluous obligation and release it. Begin to reclaim your sovereignty over time and focus through the ritualization of stillness. Our aim here is not perfection. It is presence, and presence, true, somatic, sustained presence, is the fertile soil from which authentic transformation blooms. Deep attention is now revolutionary. To pay sustained attention is a subversive act. It interrupts commodified engagement and reasserts the sacredness of lived experience. Confidence, in its truest form, is not ostentatious. It does not require display. Rather, it is the quiet coherence of an individual who knows themselves at depth. Confidence arises when one's internal dialogue is no longer adversarial. When the narrative we tell ourselves is infused with compassion, clarity, and truth, external validation becomes superfluous. It is from this centered place that unshakable resilience is born. This does not emerge overnight. It is forged in stillness, in practice, in choosing again and again to return to self-respect when we stray. Influence is often misconstrued as a function of visibility or perfection, but the most resonant forms of leadership emerge from radical authenticity. You need not be a luminary, an influencer, or a flawlessly curated persona to inspire transformation. Your greatest power lies in your willingness to be congruent, inwardly and outwardly. By simply existing in truth, you offer others the psychic permission to do the same. You become a beacon, not through volume, but through consistency of light. True leadership does not shout. It illuminates, it invites, it anchors. If today feels heavy, that weight does not imply inadequacy. If your mind feels fogged, your spirit dimmed, know that this, too, is part of the rhythm of a deeply lived life. There is profound dignity in persistence. Your silent strength, your unseen endurance, your continued becoming, they are not only valid, they are vital. This world, so full of performative noise, deeply needs your quiet truth. Tend to your inner fire. Protect its flicker. It does not need to roar to be radiant. You are not late. You are not behind. You are unfolding, precisely on time. If this message offered resonance, extend it forward. Help someone else remember their light. Be the echo of calm in another storm. Thank you for walking this reflective path with power through life. Here we cultivate not just habits, but consciousness. We rise not alone, but through collective clarity, grounded purpose, and shared evolution.